Today we're going to be talking about Ghostbusters, more specifically the Proton Pack. I've been a part of the Ghostbusters community for many years now, running my own franchise, being a part of the whole community during the golden years of the great times and during the very dark times of the depressing and toxic times. But I won't get into that right now. I'll probably get into that in another video later down the road. Might make a little series out of this of nothing but Proton packs and Ghostbuster props and the whole Ghostbusters series. It's been a long time coming, so here's episode 1 of it, I guess you would call it. This here is the Proton Pack. This is the 1984 Proton Pack from the first movie, made by Spirit Halloween. This is the new full-size pack that came out, I believe it was 2023 it came out. And these things are great, man. Honestly, for the price that you pay for these guys, the really well-built pack that you get is worth every bit of penny. I'm proud to see the community change from this pack alone. The days of buying a Proton pack that was screen accurate in any sort of way with sound and lights costing up to $3,000 to $4,000 are long over. Thank God. I'm so happy to see this to really turn around the community and to really affect the community so that way it's more welcoming to everybody. A lot of people frown upon me saying that, but you know what? Since when did you have to become a doctor or a surgeon to become a Ghostbuster? And the amount of money that people were charging for Proton packs for 30 years was ridiculous, in my opinion. So this, to me, saved the prop community of Ghostbusters because God damn, we needed it. Out of the box, to get a pack like this for $250, I think they went for. When they first announced it, I was kind of hesitant because I worked for Spirit Halloween for many years. I was a store manager for Spirit Halloween for the longest time. The quality was kind of rocky for a long time. The quality was kind of, not quite there. But lately, the things that they've been pumping out with Ghostbusters and Fallout and everything else in between has been great, has been truly amazing. And the price for them is outrageous. It's so cheap. A pack like this for $250 in a store, I can't believe that we live in a time like that as a Ghostbuster fan because, oh God, for 40 years, it was never like that. And for 40 years, you had to do it yourself. You had to go online, get garage kits and all that stuff. And I'm so happy to see that those days are over. Now anybody has the opportunity to join a franchise and become a part of the community and enjoy the fandom like the rest of us do. Obviously, I did a lot of modifications to this guy. I pre-ordered it, you know, the day it came in was the same time everyone else got theirs. I was really pleased with the size. This is very damn close to an accurate, screen accurate sized Proton pack. Building a lot of packs myself over the years and collecting a lot of packs from more of the known builders over the years, this is pretty dead on, like, accurate. If this thing was around 20 years ago, it would have been insane. But going out of the box, I did a lot of modifications, so I'm going to go down the list of modifications I did to it, and maybe this will influence you to do the same. It didn't take a lot of work, it didn't take a lot of time, it took a little bit of money and a little bit of patience. This is a troop-worthy Proton pack. This is, I get compliments on this pack all the time whenever I've worn it out and showed people. When I do have a table or a booth with my franchise, this is the first thing people see and the first thing that they ask questions about because they don't believe that this is a Spirit Halloween pack until I break it down for them piece by piece about what I did with it. So I'm gonna do the same for this video, and hopefully this can pass on some knowledge and some tips and some advice to the average Joe. Have a little fun with it too. The first thing I did was the cyclotron. This big cake pan looking thing down here. Out of the box, it's very small. It's very kind of just weak. In the movie, this is kind of beefy. This is kind of big and bulky as it's shown in the movies, video games, cartoons, and it just needed something. The first thing I noticed out of the box right here was the speaker hole for the sound. It's an eyesore. I hated how they put it right here. I understand why, due to manufacturing, but honestly, it's a terrible idea to put it right here. Looking into it, I was just going to fill in the speaker hole and just sand it out and make it flat like a lot of guys do, but I wanted to beef it up. I realized at the time when I was researching it, people were making shells to slap right on top of of the original cyclotron. The biggest guy that I saw online, who I've bought many things from for over the years, was Frankengeek. Frankengeek does a great job with all modifications for these full-size packs. And it's the first thing I invested in was the cyclotron kit that he offered. These are 2 plates that are stacked right on top of the original cyclotron. They're made of resin. They're 3D printed resin. When you get them in the mail, you just got to give them some sanding, give them some prep work to smooth them out. The texture is actually, I sprayed this with a can of Rust-Oleum hammered black paint. It's a texture to make something look like cast iron. A lot of people use them for mailboxes and stuff like that. It came out great. If I were to go back and do it again, I probably would have used truck bed coating for pickup trucks. That seems to appear a lot better and a lot more screen accurate. Because when you watch the movies, this is textured. A lot of the parts of the pack is textured, so it's like cast iron looking. But I was really happy with how this came out, and then I hit it to match the rest of the pack. I hit it with some matte Mod Podge, just with a brush, and it came out perfect. And then I did some weathering. I did some discoloring from rust damage and such. The thing about these packs that people are kind of get afraid of doing is weathering them. Because, well, back in the day when you spent thousands of dollars on a Proton pack, you were afraid to weather it. You were afraid to dirty it up and bang it up. And I get it because you spent a lot of money on it, but those days are over. And I think the Proton packs should be banged up and dirty and weathered, because people seem to forget that Ghostbusters are slobs. They are slobs and they are clumsy. Weathering, I think, is a key factor in any Proton pack. You should make it personal. Make the pack different than everybody else's, in my opinion. People seem to forget that. It's the same approach that you do with Colonial Marines from Aliens, how you graffitied or banged up your armor, made it your own, your personal voice and a part of you. Do the same with the Proton pack, and they look a lot better when they're banged up and weathered and dirty and carelessly maintained. So that was the first thing I did. That cost me around 45 bucks. Before shipping and all that stuff, around 45 bucks. The second thing I did was the motherboard. Frankengeek was also offering a kit right when I ordered mine. He doesn't really have them available right now. He does sometimes a limited run of them once in a while, so keep a lookout for Frankengeek. He offers a motherboard with mounting hardware to the pack and mounting hardware to an Alice frame, all in one. I think it's roughly around 100 bucks, 120 bucks. The motherboard's made of MDF, which is fine. It's great. It's lightweight, it's strong, it's anything you need for a motherboard on a Proton pack. So the first thing to notice about these packs, which I am truly grateful, is the weight. I've had a pack that was the classic build of the fiberglass shell with the aluminum parts and motherboard. And the thing, after electronics and everything going on with it, that thing weighed legit 40 to 50 pounds. And have that on your back is a nightmare. It's a torture. After an hour, it gets a lot heavier and heavier and heavier. And I hated it. I was happy to sell it down the line. To have a pack like this, and I mean, this thing weighs less than 20 pounds. I cannot stress you how grateful of a time that we live in where we can have a Proton pack to weigh under 20 pounds like that. I could wear this all day long and troop with my group or just around the convention and not feel a damn thing on my back or my shoulders. And that is the greatest thing. The first thing I noticed out of the box, biggest benefit to Spear Halloween is making these things so damn light. So thank you so much for Spear Halloween for doing that. But the motherboard is great. It actually has holes for a speaker for the sound to come out of it. He did a really good job. It's perfectly sized to the full-size pack. The mounting holes for the L brackets to go inside the pack are already pre-drilled, which is incredible. The amount of times I've mounted a pack to a motherboard, it sucks. Sometimes you just don't have the brain or the mindset to really do it properly. So to have that access and for him to pre-drill those holes are amazing. And the way that these, I mean, it really doesn't take much work at all. Hit it with some flat black, mount your Alice frame, and that's it. Worth every penny. Makes a world of difference when you put these on a proper Alice frame. When these come out of the box, when they're just two cheap straps just flat on your back, it's okay. It's good for parties, good for Halloween events, stuff like that. But if you want to have that accuracy, the way that it sits on your back instead of kind of a front angle, it just makes a world of difference of how it feels and how it looks. The next thing I did that was kind of an eyesore was the crank knob up here, this little guy up here. They did a great job mimicking it, just kind of flat against the shell though. The crank knob is kind of one of those signature things that your eye just grabs when you look at Proton packs. So to me, it was a must-have. I ordered this on Etsy from Taco Belly. He prints them in resin. I don't think it's a print though. I think maybe it's a resin cast, already in black, so it really didn't need any prep work at all. It's shaped and designed to fit right onto the existing crank knob that's already on the full-size pack from Spirit Halloween. So once again, the way you just slap these things on with some glue, that's all it really takes. And it makes a world of difference to make this actually appear to be a part that will be functioning, even though it doesn't move at all. It makes a world of difference, and I'm truly grateful for that. I think that cost me like 25 bucks before shipping, like 25 bucks. The next thing I did was the wand track. So on this guy, the bottom of the wand is just a flat box. This track to me is kind of an important piece for the wand. It just needs it, and it's a part of the appearance to me, a really important part of the wand as well, so it just needed it. These are black 3D printed. I got this guy from Great Scott's Prop Shop from Etsy. Whole thing cost me about 25 bucks, and they just glued and screwed right onto the existing backboard. Once again, he designs these shaped to just fit snug right onto the existing wand, made for the Spirit Halloween full-size pack. Just glued in place with the 2 screws. The V-clip, I didn't mod. That's the existing V-clip that comes with the pack, which I thought was pretty damn good. It's a damn good replicant of a real V-clip, so no need to replace that at all. It fits snug, it's safe, and I trust it. So the next thing I did was the labels. All the labels on the existing pack are okay, but I wanted to, there was a lot of labels missing. That was the downside about buying these packs stock. So you might as well go the extra distance and slap them on. I just went with straight up normal stock vinyl labels. I didn't go for aluminum labels like a lot of guys do. A really good company called Moby Sign Company on Etsy. They sell a complete kit for labels on the entire Proton pack, for the wand, the pack, everything in between. And you can buy them pre-weathered. They're already colored and weathered and dirtied up as they printed, which I think is awesome because it suits the rest of the pack. You don't want these really clean and shiny looking. You want these banged up and dirty like they've been through hell and back. And all the labels came on one sheet of paper and made a world of difference. And I think they look fantastic. Everything in between. I'm truly grateful for that. Next thing is the ribbon cable. I am a huge fan of Ghostbusters 2. I like how the appearance of the Proton pack is in Ghostbusters 2. I love Ghostbusters 2. A lot of people don't like that movie. I never understood why. So I went with the Ghostbusters 2 style ribbon cable. That was really, I mean, this is an actual real ribbon cable. And you can buy these on Etsy. They're made from the GBHQ Parts Depot. That's the name of the Etsy store. It was around 20 bucks. It was worth it. These are mounted in, glued inside the pack for the top area over here, and then screwed into place using the ribbon cable clip against the cyclotron down here. The pre-existing ribbon cable that comes on these packs are terrible. I think it should be one of the key features that should be replaced entirely. I think it makes a world of difference appearance too. It makes it look more real. The clip up here that holds the ribbon cable, I had this in a pre-existing pack, so no need to buy that. I just took it off a pack and threw it onto here. You can buy these really cheap at Harbor Freight though for like $2. Really, really cheap stuff. The shock mount I got off a pre-existing Proton pack as well. This was a mod, but already pre-existing mod. These are, I couldn't tell you what this is made out of, but I got it from an old pack that was built many years ago. The pre-existing shock mount is way too tall, way too big. It just needs to be shaved down a bit. I recommend just replacing the whole thing. They pop right off with a screw from the inside, and you just get a replacement. I know there's a lot of guys on Etsy right now that are offering pre-made shock mounts that are more screen accurate sized, and they're really cheap too. They're like 20 bucks. I think it's worth just investing to get in one. The clippered valve, the clippered on the pack here, it's way too big, especially the end piece. This has been replaced. I had this printed and painted by a buddy of mine locally. He did a great job. This type of clipper valve on the pack, a lot of people say that's the wrong clipper valve. Actually, no. If you look at Egon Spangler's original 84 pack, this is the clipper valve that he has in the pack. And I think it looks great. The way that it's painted has that slight chrome to it. Makes a world of difference. So that is a must, I believe, to be replaced. The next thing was probably the biggest pain in the ass. I hated doing this and I will never do it again. It's the wand light kit. Now, when you buy this pack, there's nothing on the wand. There's no lights, just some stickers, some labels on it to make it look like an appearance of lights. It is not pre-drilled for lights. It is not made to add any lights at all. So that was the biggest pain in the ass I've ever done on this pack, and I will never do it again. However, once you do it and install it, it makes a world of difference. And when the pack comes stock, the wand just has 2 buttons on it with a bunch of fake knobs and fake buttons on it. One to turn on and off, one to fire and shoot. I had to pre-drill the vent holes by hand. That was a nightmare. I hated that. I had to drill out the other lights here and there. I had to mod the wand slightly to fit everything inside it from GB Fans. The GB Fans light kit is pretty remarkable. I'm truly happy with how this whole guy works. You know, once you install the light kit like this, it just brings the whole pack to life. It just makes so much a bigger character and bigger statement on this whole pack. And I think it's worth the investment, it's worth the time. As much of a pain in the ass as it was, it made a world of difference. And I love seeing the guy, especially seeing the accurate ramp light going up and down. It's a pure joy. The vent light is great, and it's just a little added character that's, I think it's a must-have for the Proton pack. The whole wand on itself, and the whole wand light kit from GB Fans cost $65 before shipment. And I tell you, for the price that you get, I've used Jupiter Electronics many years before. I've had that in many packs, and they're cool, they're great. I don't think they're as accurate as the GB Fans. Plus, for about equal, if not less of the money, you might as well just go to the GB Fans light kit, because why not? I mean, I think they look a lot better. I think they function a lot more accurately. There's multiple functions for them too. And down the line, if you ever were to wish to mod them and add more to it, or even add the GB Fans sound kit, you're able to do that. So that's my own personal opinion. I love the light kit. I think it's fantastic. I added it on its own power source. So behind the pack here, there's a little battery pack on and off switch. You can run power to the light kit to the existing power source of the pack. I just choose not to, my own personal preference. In my experience doing the things like that, I just keep things simple, dependable, so they don't break down on me if I'm out on a convention or doing an event. And just to have this run all day long on a table and to have it shown off at people is truly an eye catcher. The switches were added. Those were probably just as much of a pain in the ass as it was to drill out the holes for the vent light, because just getting them fit and to get them functioning as well and to be strong and sturdy enough to be dependable. But I'm really happy with the way it came out, and it's worth the time and investment. The loom, the overall cable loom that runs the wand to the pack, that has to be replaced, in my opinion. That has to be replaced. The stock one is so stiff, it's just awkward. It doesn't really move all that well. You want one that's really soft. I got this locally. There's a place in Orlando called Skycraft, and they are the go-to guys in the shop to go when you just need something, especially prop stuff. You need switches or lights or cables or just motor parts or random stuff at a cheap discount that should not be functioning, but to look cool on a prop, that's the place to go. And I recommend it if you're in the area. I got the whole pack of this. I think it was a 10-foot loom for like $5. And it's such a better loom than the one that came with the pack. And I just cut it into size and just attached it the same way that the original loom was attached. The Atlas frame I've had for many, many years on an old pack, pre-existing, was already painted, already primed, and already ready to go. If you were to buy one, a good one, like 40 to 60 bucks, it's worth it. Like I said earlier about the motherboard, it just makes a world of difference in how it feels and how it sits on your back. It feels and sits just so much better than just the flat board against your back with those cheap backpack straps that they put on this thing. On the wand, for the bar graph, there is a frame that I purchased to fit the bar graph in to make it look more uniform, industrial. That was made by Sponge Vase McGee on eBay, and that's worth it. It was only like 17 bucks. Comes with the frame to sit in the bar graph and the film, if you want to put a film on top of it, like a glass sheeting. I just think it looks better rather than just cutting a hole into the wand and then just shoving a bar graph bare bones. Makes things a lot more cleaner looking, a lot more universal. And once again, that was a real royal pain in the ass to even attempt to cut through that square window of the wand and then try to fit that. That was an afternoon's worth of work. Would not do it again, tell you that much. But totally worth it once you pull it off and once it's finished, because damn, it looks awesome. The trigger box, that was also made by Sponge Face McGee. It's a must-have to flip it on, flip it off, and to fire. When you dismount the wand, you want to have that switch. He sells you the switch box as well as the 2 switches that you need, and actually breaks down how to wire them to the pre-existing electronics of the pack. So when you flip it on, it's a one-way. You flip the switch off, nothing happens, because the original switch is just a 1-button press on and off. So that's the one thing to look out for. Flip it again, turns it off. So flip up and turn it off. And that's the way it works. The firing button is a must because it just feels right. You just push your thumb on there. Absolutely fantastic. And I think it's worth it, totally. You know, when I covered the sound holes, I was kind of hesitant about maybe I should move the speaker. I thought about putting the speaker towards the motherboard, since the motherboard has pre-existing holes to mount the speaker. However, when I put the shell onto the cyclotron and I switched it on, I didn't need it. It's very loud on its own. Of course, I'm wearing a collared mic. It may not be loud in this video, but I mean, the volume of this thing, that's loud to me. That's very, very loud. It's a lot louder than previous packs that have been around for many, many years. The light kit inside the pack itself, the blue ramp here and the cyclotron lights, that's all stock. That came from Spirit Halloween, and I think they look so damn good. There's no need to replace them. If you want, add a film. You can add a film behind these lenses of the cyclotron and make it more movie accurate. But you know, honestly, for how they work and how they come stock, it's perfect. And the sound of this thing is perfect. I think it's not needed to do any modifications to electronics at all. The only thing I added was obviously the control of the wand, but the sound and the lights of the pack itself are all stock. I said, you know what, they're so good, I'm gonna leave them as is. And I'm very, very happy with what they've done with this pack. Very, very bright, very, very loud, and that's all you need for a Proton pack. So overall, with this whole pack, honestly, man, this thing is awesome. This thing is great. For anyone who's just a casual costumer or a cosplayer, or whatever you want to call yourself, or if you're just a fan and you're a Ghostbusters fan, you want to collect props and toys, this thing is a must-have. I am truly grateful to be a Ghostbusters fan today because of the amazing quality things that are coming out lately. It's just been breaking the whole community. You know, as I've said multiple times in this video, the days of spending thousands and thousands of dollars on a Proton pack or a Ghost Trap or a PKE are long over. And I'm so happy to see that. I'm so happy and thrilled to just see that disappear now. What a time to be alive. The pack itself, anything else worth mentioning, I've already mentioned. Everything about it, the banjos, the clippered, everything is great, good to go. I'm amazed at the tower here. I mean, this is metal. This is actually metal piece. I thought they would make it rubber or something like that, but this is actually metal. Everything looks great, man. Everything on it is in great detail. Maybe a little discoloring, maybe you hit it with some paint, but overall, this is slamming pack, man. This is a great pack. I see a lot of guys take the extra mile, they drill holes, they add real banjos or real clippered elbows and stuff like that, but honestly, the ones that come stock are so good. You know, I took on the big major mods head on. The wand was the most I've ever modded anything. And of course, you know, you can go out and buy the new Hasbro 1984 wand, and a lot of guys are slapping the wand right onto this thing, and it looks great. It doesn't function the pack. You're not able to shoot the pack or anything like that, but I think it looks great for appearance, and the 1984 Hasbro wand looks great as its own. But truly, man, I'm truly grateful about this pack, and what a time to be alive as a Ghostbusters fan. What else is there to say? The negatives about the pack, very minor. I mean, up on top here, there's a big negative about the flushness of the flatness up here. The shell, I understand why they designed the shell this way because of manufacturing. They need to pump a lot of these out and put them in stores for Halloween time. Up here is a big issue that I've had, but no one's really gonna see that, especially on the top. No one's gonna look on top of the pack, let's be honest here. Especially when you're wearing it, they're gonna look at the front face. The biggest negative I can point out is the bumper. This shelve looking thing, you know, there's, on the real pack, there's an opening between the bumper and the cyclotron. and on these packs there's just a wall, and it's a bummer, but at the same time these are vacuum formed packs. They're manufactured, so it's understandable. But am I going to nitpick? No. Am I going to really complain? Not at all, because you got a slamming awesome pack for $250 out the door. What else is there to say? Not much. Overall, I mean, for $250 for a stock pack, they're awesome. For $250, this thing is fantastic. Overall mods that I did with it, here's the thing. The pack is $250 before tax and shipment. The mods in total, doing the math on the top of my head, if you want to add shipping and tax, roughly just under $500. So that's something to be said. You're still under $1,000. You're still way under $1,000 in my opinion. Way under what packs used to cost before these started taking the community by storm. But you know what, man? It's worth every dime and penny. What a time to be a Ghostbusters fan. What a time to be a prop collector. And if you would have told me 10 years ago there'd be a day when Spirit Halloween's going to be selling full-size Proton packs on this type of scale with lights and electronics and sound, I'd say you're crazy. It'll never happen. But here we are. This thing is awesome, man. I'm very happy with this thing. However, I will say I am selling it. It is for sale. I am selling it. I currently have 3 Proton packs in my arsenal, and this is one of them. Probably, as much as I love this pack, as much as it's a key factor when I have a table or booth with my franchise, it's the most eye-catching thing on the table that everyone wants to talk about and look at and take pictures of. However, I'm going to be moving on to much broader and bigger things. So I will be selling this thing locally. I'm not going to be shipping it at all. For a price for this thing, I have no idea how much I'm gonna put it up for sale for. But honestly, this thing has been a pure joy. It's been a nightmare to work on this wand, but I'm so happy with the way it came out. Hopefully this video helps you. It adds to the conversation that's so widely known online and on the YouTube community of Ghostbusters. And yeah, if you are able to get one, get one. You will not be disappointed. You will not regret it as a Ghostbusters fan, and they're kick-ass right out of the box. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, all that jazz, blah, blah, blah. And stay tuned for a lot more Ghostbuster videos soon to come. I have a lot of props to show, a lot of things to talk about, tutorials to show you about Ghostbusters. Also, I plan on doing a little storytell, telling some stories about being a Ghostbuster, the celebrities I met, and the things I've been through as a Ghostbuster among the franchise and community. I think it's worth sharing and telling the truth side of being a part of the community, which a lot of people are afraid to dabble with and to speak about for some odd reason. But I'm gonna lay it all out. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, go bust some heads.